particular type of healthcare. And one of the things that we are hopeful of being able to do in this RFP is make use of the facilities that we have not had use of that already exist within the Cumberland County Detention Center, that is the infirmary, and hopefully save the taxpayers money, which it should, but in any event, put to use something that the taxpayers have already paid for and that it still costs them to maintain. And if we were to do that, we would need the NCCH accreditation.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm glad you were here.
Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is for our manager. When was our agenda put out?
I believe it was uploaded right before 5 o'clock last Wednesday afternoon.
Was this included in our agenda? I think it was. Was it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Council.
To the manager, this limited language that we have, will that serve to exclude participation by someone who is not in the correctional institution business?
No, ma'am. Staff worked to make sure that the language was changed so that it would not limit other entities that are not providing correctional care but are providing health service in some type of setting so that they could apply and would be considered.
All right.
Commissioner Fairclough.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to point, as chairman of the Finance Committee, I would like to point out that this item came to the board without recommendation from the Finance Committee because there were changes to be made. So in my opinion, it's appropriate that the board has questions at this time because these changes were actually being seen for the first time. They were not on the Finance Committee agenda as they are currently written. Notwithstanding that, maybe this item, when it comes to the full board without a recommendation, it probably shouldn't be on the consent agenda, in my opinion, anyway. So for that reason, it's proper that there are questions to be asked at this time. Thank you.
I agree with you, Commissioner Fairclough. Commissioner Booth.
This is a question for our attorney. Is there a requirement, a savings on insurance premiums, or is there something other than kind of an assurance that the standards are higher in either of these accreditations being in the jail health? Is there a requirement, or is it just?
There's a requirement for specific minimum levels of insurance.
No, I'm talking about these accreditations that whoever does this medical, that our jail have accredited health care. Is there a statewide requirement for that?
No, it is not a legal requirement.
Okay. Does it give us, it's kind of like if your child takes driver's ed, you get a little bit of a break in your insurance. If we get these accreditations and these standards as being our base standards that we exceed, does that give us a reduction in our insurance premiums or anything like that at all?
We're self-insured, so it doesn't really address that. The reason that accredited the sheriff in the past, and I wholeheartedly endorse that, is insist on accreditation, is it enables us to readily meet establishing what the standard of care is if we are sued for the provision of care. We used to have a regular number of lawsuits from detainees or former detainees in jail related to health care. That number has greatly diminished in the last few years, and I mean, it appears to me that it's coincided with the expansion of the jail and probably the reduction in overcrowding. But it doesn't stop people from filing lawsuits. It doesn't help us with our insurance. It just gives us a readily available means to establish meet the first defense hurdle of establishing what the standard of care is, because this is
okay, so it helps you when someone says they deviated or failed to adhere to accepted medical standards in correctional health care. You can go, well, not according to the NCCHC and the ACA.
Yes, sir. That's
okay.
That's exactly it.
Commissioner Council.
I just wanted to make sure all questions were asked first because I had a couple too.
Okay.
Before I made a motion, because I'm going to make a motion that we, if
I may, before you make the motion,
Commissioner Keefe.
just for clarification, I want, like you, Commissioner Council, I want to ensure that anyone who has the desire and the capabilities to bid on this contract has that capability without what may be considered unrealistic expectations.
Expectations.
And my questions would be answered 100% with that.
Commissioner Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I understand that everyone have questions now, but as was stated, the agenda went out a week ago, almost a week ago. And these questions could have been simply answered by calling and asked the questions. And then we would understand when we've gotten to the board instead of prolonging this meeting. That's what the agenda is sent out for.
I'm taking offense.
Wait a minute. I believe I will go.
Questioning who?
Well, hold on one second. And I think what we have here is, and I think Commissioner Fairclough was properly. It came to the Finance Committee. There were questions at the Finance Committee. Those were not answered satisfactorily right then and there. I think staff went back and prepared the documents, and I think it was sent out for everybody to look at. And one of the things that hopefully we do is we don't get into a rush at any meeting, that anybody doesn't have an opportunity, if they have questions, whenever they got it, to be able to ask those questions and have those answered. And I think that's why the attorney's here, the manager's here, Mr. Mitchell's here, the sheriff is here. And I will tell you from this position as chair, I will give everybody an opportunity to be able to ask their questions and make sure they're answered. We're not going to rush through a meeting if you're not satisfied in terms of that, to make sure that you have the correct information to be able to make a vote on. And so with that said, I think Commissioner Booth, is your light still on, or I cut it off because I had my say there at the end?
I admit I'm the rookie on the board here, but should I have just called Mr. Mitchell and then not, and maybe my question was something everybody else had, because these highlighted things were not on the committee. These were done afterwards. So did we have any meetings after this agenda came out?
No, sir.
Did you send any memos explaining the highlights?
No, sir, I didn't.
Did anybody?
No, sir.
Well, Mr. Booth, like I said, I think that, Commissioner Booth, that you have a right, as anybody else up here, if you got something, even if you get it, and it does that, you have a right to ask any question at this meeting that you feel comfortable, for you to be able to make your vote, that you think you feel secure enough that I've got enough information to be able to do that. And I think that's why Commissioner Keefe was able to pull it off the consent agenda to have that conversation. But I think we want to be civil in all of that in terms of the questions that we ask, and to be able to do that. And that's what at all times we'll be able to do, and be able to recognize each and every one. Commissioner Council.
Okay. All minds and hearts are now clear, and all questions have been asked. And I want this RFP to go out so that we can get the services. So I'm moving to approve, what is
The
the
request for proposal process for the healthcare.
RFP. I'm moving to go ahead and approve it with the understanding that everyone can apply.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Unanimous.
And at this time, I'd like to recognize the Sheriff Ennis Wright, and Chief Deputy for being here. Also like to recognize the Crown Coliseum Inspector, Jim Granstrom, and the Chair from the Crown Coliseum. Thank you all for being here. And also at the very back, I'm the liaison, my library trustee is here tonight. Thank you so very much for coming. And so with that, Mr. Mitchell, the Sheriff, you all in the Crown, if you want to stay, feel free to stay.
Thank you, Ron.
If you want to leave, we understand that too. We will go to our public hearings, and I will call on the county manager to explain the board's policy for public hearing.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we have two uncontested rezoning cases this evening, and our zoning hearing time limits, arguments by the proponents and opponents shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes for each side. If there's no group representative, each speaker shall be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes until the 10-minute time limit is attained. Rebuttals will only be permitted at the discretion of the chairman with a maximum of 1 3-minute presentation.
And presenting for us tonight, I think Mr. Lord's not here.
Yeah, Ms. Patty Spiker is stepping in for our planning director, Tom Lloyd, this evening. Our first case is case P-1702. Ms.
Good
Spiker?
evening.
Good evening. P-1702 is the rezoning of 2 acres from RR Rural Residential to CP Planned Commercial. It's a conditional zoning case. The property owner is requesting permission for outside storage of motor vehicles to include trucks, recreational vehicles, and the pod containers. This is an expansion of an existing business there where Rockfish and Camden Road cross, and the site will not take any new access. It's located on the east side of Applegate Road and is owned by Cam Rocks LLC. The planning board recommended approval for the reasons as stated within your packet. And I don't think there's any one signed up to speak.
I will open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
I will close the public hearing. Anyone have any comments, questions? If not, I'll call for a motion.
I'll read it. In the case of,
What,
okay,
did you have a question?
I just gonna-
Okay, go ahead,
okay.
Larry. I'm sorry.
In the case of P-1702, move to find the request for rezoning consistent with the 2030 Growth Vision Plan and any other applicable land use plan, reasonable and in the public interest for the reasons stated in the recommendation of the planning staff.
Second.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Call for a second motion.
I'll do that one. In the same case, P-1702, move to approve the rezoning of CP Plan Commercial CZ, conditional zoning for outside storage of motor vehicles, including trucks and recreational vehicles, and pod containers.
Second.
Any questions? It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous. Our next case is case P-1708.
This is a rezoning of 2.74 acres from A1 agricultural to R40 residential. It's at 4957 Grace Creek Church Road and J Camp Drive. It's owned by Rockfish Run, the planning board, and Elizabeth and Horace Dew. The planning board recommended approval for the reasons stated in your staff packet, and I don't think there's anyone signed up to speak.
Can I ask a question? Is that an intersection? Because I saw Grace Creek Road and then Jap Camp, or is that two different?
Yes, sir, it is. J Camp is a Class C private dirt street.
Okay. I'll open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There are no speakers.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Nobody had their light on. Sorry.
No, I just wonder, is it not working tonight?
No, sir, it's working. It's typically the cases aren't open unless they're contested.
Okay, all right, no, that's okay.
Did you want to see him?
No, it's hard to tell on the overhead if this is surrounded by A1 or this is in fact R40 on this, or they're butting up against it. We've got A1, but it looks like there's small parcels all the way around it, but they're A1.
Yes, sir. In this area, wasn't zoned until the 90s, the mid-90s. So there most likely are many, many tracks out in the Grace Creek area that do not meet the minimum for the A1. The ordinance does allow for and provide exceptions for those lots that were pre-existing. They would be held to the RR rural residential standard for one dwelling unit.
So how big are those lots, like right there?
They would be approximately most of them are almost 2 acres off of J Camp.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
I thought they were smaller, I thought they were smaller, like neighborhood size. Okay. All right, no question. I'm fine, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
I open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, are there any speakers?
There
I'll close the public hearing and call for a motion. Commissioner Fairclough.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we find the request for rezoning consistent with the 2030 Growth Vision Plan and any other applicable use plan reasonable and in the public interest for the reasons stated in the recommendations of the planning staff.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Commissioner Fairclough.
I'd further move that we approve the rezoning for R40 Residential District, and this is for case P17-08.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous. Okay.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for presenting tonight.
Under our items of business, item number 4 is consideration of a proposed schedule for fiscal year 2018 budget work sessions and the public hearing. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, in your packet information, staff has tried to identify some dates for your review and consideration for the budget presentation, which would be Thursday, May 25th, a work session following that on Tuesday, May 30th. Then we would like to have on Wednesday, May 31st, the department head appeals and a combined work session. We've proposed the budget, the public hearing for the public on Monday night, June 5th at 7 p.m. And then we've scheduled 3 following budget sessions on the 8th of June, the 13th, and the 14th if needed. So these are some suggested dates as we move forward for our budget hearings.
Anyone have any questions or discussions for the manager?
I just,
Go right ahead, Commissioner Council.
these are so important this year with our budget questions that we have. I just want us all to make sure that we have, I sound like a mama, don't I? Make sure that we have these dates written in stone before we adopt them, because we really, really, really need 100%.
Give everybody a moment to look at their calendars. I see Commissioner Booth still looking at his.
Well, isn't that Tuesday, May 30th, Thursday, May 25th, isn't that the long Memorial Day weekend?
The Thursday, the 25th, yes, sir, is before the Memorial Day weekend.
Right.
Okay.
You good?
Good.
All right.
Yeah.
If I can get a motion,
I don't.
Yeah, so moved.
if I get a second.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Unanimous. Item number 5 is consideration of a request from Cargill Incorporated to close a portion of Underwood Road and to schedule a public hearing. And I'll ask our county attorney, Mr. Moorfield, to review this item.
As some of you may recall, this has been going on for some time. Cargill did a major expansions, reconfigured its plant. Incident to that, it's actually already constructed a new road that's with an 80-foot right-of-way, which this board consented to being put into the state system back in November. What they're asking to close is the portion of Underwood Road that runs from River Road to its intersection with the next road up. It's about 2,800ths of a mile. It's completely surrounded by Cargill's property except for one little bit that at the end of it, and that property owner also has submitted a petition. So both property owners who own property that abuts it have requested this. If the board sees fit to proceed with this, then just if you can adopt this resolution, there will have to be a public hearing scheduled and held at the whichever the second meeting in April is. We have to advertise it for 3 weeks, and would be resolved at that time.
Commissioner Booth.
Has there been any pre-public hearing feedback or blowback on your office yet?
No, sir.
Okay. It's about a quarter of a mile, and they're basically they're the affected property.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I call for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
You've heard the motion and the second. All those in favor?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh.
do we have to set a public hearing for that now, or
The resolution sets it. I think the
does that have it in the language?
Yes, sir.
The 18th,
18th. I
Okay.
think we're the
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Is that, that's a
That's
Tuesday instead of a
Tuesday.
Monday for,
April 18th.
yes, sir.
All right, all those in favor?
Item number 6 is nominations to boards and committees.
Board of Health Commissioner Council.
I'd like to nominate Dr. Sam Fleischman. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Second.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fairclough, was yours for the last one, or? Oh, I'm sorry, okay. You're good.
Oh, yeah, I hit it twice.
Any other nominations? With that, we'll go to appointments to boards and committees. I'll call on the Vice Chair, Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have appointments for the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, 1 vacancy, and we also have for Nursing Home Advisory Board, 2 vacancies. There being an equal number of vacancies and nominees, I hereby move to appoint Nikki Cunningham to the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, and Nikki Cunningham and Brenda MacArthur Strong to the Nursing Home Advisory Board.
Second.
Any questions? It's been moved and properly second. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Madam Manager, is there a closed session?
No, sir.
Okay. Then with that, I would like to call on our 2 Fayetteville Cumberland County Youth Council member, Constance Wood and Josh Previous, if y'all will come up. And just at the end, we'll give you an opportunity to state what you learned from the meeting or the meeting itself.
Or did.
Or whether you're coming back again.
You think anybody's gonna get suspended tonight?
This is my second meeting,
Yes.
and once again, I'm taken back by the professionalism and politeness, for the most part, of the board.
Way to go, Josh. Way to go, Josh.
I would
Tell me
like,
it is, Josh.
That
I
sounded
will
like a
try
B
to come
minus.
back if I can, but I'd like to, once again, thank you guys for recognizing the youth of Fayetteville. Sometimes it seems like we're not admired as much or whatever, but you guys are doing a good job in showing the youth of Fayetteville, so I appreciate that, and thanks for having us.
Thank you, Josh. Ms. Constance.
Well, this is my first meeting, and I really like how fast-paced it is. Like, y'all are on top of everything. And I really I didn't know how much, zoning affects us, and, I learned that from tonight's session, and I really enjoyed it, and I hope to come back. And thank you for having me.
All right. Y'all will come around, but I don't think y'all have been around yet. Wait a minute, Josh, you can pass.
Good observation. You're welcome back anytime.
Come back, come back.
Hey, I know you're rushing out here to do your homework.
Proud that's already done. Good job.
Weren't surprised.
Good job. Appreciate it.
Okay, you watch this? Yes, sir. Yeah, how was it? Pretty good. Yeah.
And if there's no further business, I call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.